Chapter 10, Section 2 looks at perimeter and area. So the definition of perimeter is just going to be the distance around the object. And that's any shaped object. The units are going to be what we're going to call single. They're one-dimensional because we're just measuring the distance. And the formula for this, no matter what the shape, all you're going to do is add up all sides. Now, given that that's not a curved shape, if we have a curved shape, then most often we're going to be looking at a circle. If it's not a circle and it's curved, we're going to have to use calculus then to find the perimeter or the length of the curve, which we won't be doing. Circumference is just the perimeter or the distance around a circle. And we better put the outside of a circle. We'll be discovering pi and the formula in class. Area of an object is how much it takes to cover. Now what happens here, it's going to be related to the size, and the units are going to be squared. They're no longer singular, they're squared because if you think about area, we've got two dimensions. We're not just measuring the length, we're actually looking at what can fit inside. So if this is 3 meters and this is 2 meters, and I multiply, 3 times 2 is 6, but you need to remember meters times meter is meters squared. So this would be 6 meters squared. Now when converting units in area, it's much more difficult than converting singular units, which you were doing in your homework. So for example, if I have 3 yards squared, that means I have, let's see, squared means two-dimensional. And if I want to convert this into feet, what a lot of people want to do with their dimensional analysis, they know they need yards squared below, and they want to say, well, there's 3 feet in a yard, and you're exactly right. But we need to make sure that if I have 1 yard squared, that's 1 by 1 yard. This is 1 yard. This is 1 yard. But if I'm looking at feet, in this yard, there are 3 feet. And in this yard, there are 3 feet. So in 1 yard squared, there are 9 feet squared. And so you have to be really careful of now that you're in a two-dimensional shape instead of a one-dimensional. So in 1 yard squared, we just saw that there are 9 feet squared. So dimensional analysis, this is my unit here of 1. My yards cancel, and this would be equal to 27 feet squared. So there's a power of 2 that's going on there that you have to be really careful of. A base of an object is what we're going to be looking at, and a base is going to be the side of the object that is parallel to something such as the bottom of the paper. So when we look at this, we're going to say, what does it sit on? Objects can be rotated, but what it sits on. So we kind of looked at this when we were looking at our prisms, and we said it needed to sit on the flat triangular piece so that when I did a cut, a cross-sectional cut, so when I took that cut, I got the same shape and size every time I took that cut. And we'll be looking at some of those in class so you can get a better idea there. When we talk about a function here, if you remember, a function says every input is paired with exactly one output. So we're kind of basing shapes now back on our numerical definitions that we used, and one was a function, and it just says each figure that we're looking at will have a unique area. You're not going to get 2 different areas from the same shape, and that's what a function was. Each input is paired with exactly one output. What we're going to be doing in explorations is we're going to be finding these formulas for these different shapes through chapter 2. And so we'll fill in this sheet. We will be doing Pythagorean as an exploratory example in class, as well as perimeter to area relationships. So those will all be done in explorations.